On the first episode of Talk Tuesdays, I'll be helping you choose a dance studio that's right for you because, let's be honest, making decisions is hard. Dance studio owners, take note. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Talk Tuesdays. I am Baine, and today I'm going to be helping you choose the dance studio that's best for you. Now, I was going to do this whole episode in one, but after I realized all of this was going to take like 20 or 30 minutes, I decided I'm going to break this up into a few episodes. So this is part one. So for today's episode and the rest of these episodes, you're going to need a spreadsheet, all right? So get out a piece of paper or open up a spreadsheet on your computer and have it set up that looks something like this. All right, so you need a top column up there, and then you need a side column here. Those are where you're going to put dance studios. Eventually, you're going to put dance studios there, and kind of what we're about to go through right here. All right, so once you have that done, let's go ahead and leap right into this. The first and most important step is to decide what your wants are. Without knowing this, before you start searching, you could be looking at dance studios that don't even have anything that you want. And the best way to prevent that is to compile a list of everything that you want in your dance studio. So I'm going to help you do that by asking you guys a few questions and give you guys a few tips to kind of really mold and find out what you really want. So let's hop on into our spreadsheet. Now up here on the top left-hand corner, you're going to type in wants, all right? I'm not going to be worried about capitalizing anything. I'm just going to kind of do this as quickly as possible. So type it up, write it in the top left-hand corner, all right? So this whole column right here is going to be our wants, all right? So the first thing we're going to talk about is what dance style do you want, all right? Now, I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that want more than one, and that's okay. But what I want you to do is think about the styles that you want and put them in order of how much you're interested in learning those styles or how badly you want them. So if you have one style, great. If you have several, awesome. But if you have like 10, maybe try to cut that down to 3 to 5, because more than likely not every dance studio is going to have everything you want. So the more you cut that down, the more likely you're going to be able to find a dance studio that has what you want. And then if they don't have the other things that's not on your list but you still want to take, and if they don't have those, then you can always go to another dance studio, especially if it's a specialty dance style like belly dance, Middle Eastern dance, ballroom, anything like that. You may have to go to another studio to take, or a specialty dance studio. So keep that in mind. So what I want you to do is write down the dance styles you want to take. So mine, I'm going to say I have 3. So mine, in order of most interested to least interested. First one is hip hop. Second one is tap. Third one is jazz. All right. So those are my top 3. Starting with 1, 2, and 3. Hip hop is my first. Second is tap, and third is jazz. All right. So that's kind of what I want you guys to do there. If you just, like I said, if you just have one, just put one. All right. You don't have to do a lot. So those are my top 3. Next up is you need to decide what kind of dancer you want to be, all right? So do you want to be a competitive dancer, a performance dancer, or just a recreational dancer? So I'm going to go through what each of those are so you can decide for yourself. So first one is competitive dancer, all right? Some of these are going to be self-explanatory, by the way, so yeah. So I'm going to go through these quick. So competitive dancer is someone that's focused on doing competitions and going out and completely competing for half of the year, if not all of the year. So yes, they're going to go in and learn technique and learn routines, but most of the time it's specifically so they can go out and go compete. So if you want to do that, know right off the bat you have extra costs because of the competitions. You got to have costume fees, travel fees, hotel fees, fees to actually do the competitions. And most of the time studios do like fundraisers to help that, but sometimes it doesn't help with all of the expenses, or sometimes they don't do it at all. So know that jumping into this, if that's what you want to do. And if you're a beginner dancer, I'm going to suggest like not to hop into that right away. Get some experience under the belt. The next type of dancer is performance dancer. Now, this one is kind of like a competitive dancer, but this one, instead of focusing on a ton of competitions, they focus on performing and doing different events. So this could be very closely linked with something like a dance company. Dance companies tend to do a lot of performances around their area and do a few competitions, but not a ton. The next kind of dancer is recreational. Now this one is just, you want to go into the class, learn the style, and have fun with it. So you're not worried about performing. Yeah, you may be in the recitals, but other than that, you don't really want to focus on competition or a ton of performances. So this is good for beginners. So decide which one of those you want. For me, I'm going to say it's a performance. So that's what I want if I'm going to a studio. Next up is, what kind of environment do you want the studio to be? And this is one where I'm going to kind of give you a tip and help you out on this one more, because this is a weird question to ask. What I mean by this is, how do you want to feel when you are there, when you're at the studio? There's a lot of studios that have different environments, and I'm going to go through the 3 that I have seen. First off, there's the competitive environment. Now, I don't mean like going to competition type of competitive. I mean competitive within the studio. So you walk into class and you're going to be constantly kind of competing with other dancers within that class or within the studio in general. So do you want that? Do you want to go in and feel like you got to prove yourself every single day? And because if not, someone else is trying to kick you off your game or out of your spot. So do you want that? Do you want something competitive? And this type of environment can be good, but to me, in my opinion, it's very, very hazardous, not only to the students, but to the studio itself, because people can be mean and it could become a bullying issue instead of a competitive issue. So this can be very toxic for the students and the studio. The next one is just casual, all right? You're there to do what you got to do, and then you're out with not a ton of interaction. The last, and the one that I think everyone should strive, every studio should strive to have, and every student should strive to be in, which is the family environment. I think dance is a very close-knit community. This is one that I really think would help dancers grow, help studios grow, help choreographers and instructors grow. This is like the ideal environment for everyone. So what I mean by family is, when a new student comes in through that door, the student feels like they are already part of the studio, even though they're not. That's what my studio was about. I made sure everyone was part of the family. If someone was new to class, all of my students, they were basically mindset of go help that person regardless. Hey, you're new, I've been here for years. If you need help on anything, seriously, let me know. I'll help you out. I'll pull you aside. We can go through the choreography. If you get a little behind, if you're having trouble, I'll help you out. Just let me know. And it was like that every year. There was never a year that it was never like that. And this wasn't just the grown-up kids or the older kids. This was the young kids too that were doing that. And the parents were doing that. And everyone was doing that at the studio. So this was a family in it. And that's what I think you should strive to be in, is a family type of studio. So my type of environment would be family. Moving on to the next one, it is, what size of class do you want to be in? Now this is hard to judge. You can do small, medium, or large, but the numbers are based on what you want. For me, the smaller classes you're going to get, which are probably somewhere between 8 and lower, the smaller classes you're going to get more attention because the teacher can see everyone. But once you get up into like 9 to 15, you could get a little bit of attention, but it's going to be more spread out and hard for the instructor to see everyone and specifically give details without slowing down the class. So that would be medium, and then anything above 15 to me is large. So I'm going to set like a number of students that I would want to be in a class with, to feel not only comfortable to mess up and kind of be in my own zone, but also to be comfortable enough that I'm going to be seen by the instructor to get corrections. And for that, it would be somewhere between 8 to 13. That lingers between a smaller-ish class and a medium-ish class. That's my preference. Think about what you would want. If you were in a class with 5 people, would you want to be in that class? What about 15 people? Would you want to be in that class? How would you feel comfortable where you would not feel like you're being singled out, but also not being lost in the crowd? So that's more of a preference on you. So write down what your number is. Like I said, mine is 8 to 13. So these last 2 things are very, very important for you, especially if you are the parent of this dancer that wants to go take a class, or if you drive yourself. First, how far are you willing to drive? From where you live to where the studio is, how far are you willing to drive? You can put this in miles, you can put this in minutes. I'm gonna put it in minutes because I'm horrible with mileage. I'm gonna put, for me, somewhere between 30 to 45 minutes. Anything less than that would be awesome as well. So I'm gonna see if I can remember how to do that. So yeah, anything less than 30 to 45 minutes I would be okay with, but I'm going somewhere between that range because I teach at a studio right now that is like 40 to 45 minutes away from me, and I'm completely fine with that because it's a really good studio and I feel like I'm in good hands. So last thing is what your budget is. This can be very hard to kind of put a finger on without hearing how much the classes are. So for me, I think it's important to come in knowing what your budget is, because I've had a lot of people that's come into my studio before that said, yeah, I don't really know what my budget is. And then I tell them how much everything they want is, and they go, oh yeah, no, we can't do that. And it's like $150 for 3 classes, and they're expecting something under like 50, which is completely outrageous. So if you expect to get 3 classes a month for $50, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to find it. And if you do, it's not going to be good quality classes. So you need to keep all that in mind. So I'm going to put down $150 for me, for my 3 classes, 3 hours a week, and $150 a month. I am okay with it going a little less than that, but here's where my top is and where my bottom is, all right? 150 is where I'm looking at because that's how much I feel is normal, and that's how much my studio was for 3 classes. So I'm okay to go down to somewhere to like 120. If I get under that, I'm going to start worrying about the quality of the class, because now that it seems like they're trying to get really cheap. The teacher's really cheap, so they don't have to pay the teacher that much. If it's one person running the studio and the classes, I'm going to worry about the quality of that class because they're trying to do too much. Also, on the other end of it, if it gets too high in price, then it better be really good quality classes. So my top range would probably be $200, and that's a $50 bounce up. And $200 a month for really good classes, I'm okay with, because it's good quality classes. But if it's not very good, then no way I'm going to pay $200. There's probably no way I'm going to pay $150 either. So with that, we are done with all of our wants. We have the styles we want, the type of dancer we want to be, the type of environment we want, amount of people in the class, the distance that we want to drive, and our budget. If you have leeway on some of these, awesome. Mark it like that. Put a star, an asterisk, or whatever you want to call it by it, so you know, okay, if it's not exactly this, then okay, I'm fine with that. With that done, that concludes step 1 and part 1 of how to choose a dance studio right here on Talk Tuesdays. Next week, we are going to be compiling some information on dance studios, dance studios in your area to get you closer to getting you into the best dance studio for you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment in the comment section below. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and hit that bell button. That way you know when I post a new video. And until next time, keep dancing.